First up, I will talk about Ninja JaJaMaru-kun. Um,
The JJ
great thing to hear
game.
me say out loud. It is a,
I'm loading
I
up the
don't know.
trailer for this, my friend. Keep going.
Yeah, so it's got a weird release because it's a new game, a compilation of old platformers,
Pencil
and a
me.
compilation of some RPGs, and they're all independent from one another, but they came out at the same time. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and I think there's a bundle that has the retro games and the
Mm-hmm.
new game, and then there's a separate one with the RPG. It's interesting. That's what
I'm
this
looking
company.
for this, by the way. This is insane to try to get
Yeah.
this. Keep talking. Keep talking.
The new one is, oh boy, it's got a name, Ninja JaJaMaru-kun.
The Great Yokai Battle plus
Great Yokai
Hell
Battle
Deluxe.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You want to
I'm
see
on
what
the
we're
wrong
talking about? I'm
podcast.
gonna play it. All right, get ready. Here, I found the video.
Oh yeah, it's Ninja JaJaMaru, the Great Yokai Battle plus Hell.
What?
It is a game that was apparently very popular in Japan by Jalico. And it's kind of like the original Mario Brothers, the not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers, mixed with Ice Climber.
Wow.
And it's actually like super fun. I've never played this game before. I never heard about this game before. Before they sent me the email saying, "Do you want to try this game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." There's not much to say about the game itself other than like it's a very simple action platformer arcade game, I guess.
Looks like Mega Man.
I was gonna say Operation, whatever that one was from. That looked good.
Yeah.
The one that looked like Mega Man. I don't know. That looked alright.
Yeah. So like this one right here, this Great Yokai Battle game is the one they want you to sort of focus on because it's the new one. They made this one.
Oh,
Right.
Doesn't look new to me.
It's not a remake, and it's got a lot of like
Wow.
crazy like
interesting. Okay.
unlockables.
So they went like hardcore retro look with this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's definitely like doing stuff that you
D-make.
wouldn't get out of an old NES or something,
Yeah.
but it's definitely going with that style. And it's a fun little game with lots of unlockables, lots of characters to unlock and play as, and like
Multiplayer. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
go figure that the arcade game is multiplayer. But
Taylor,
like,
what are you eating, dude?
yeah,
Shut up.
And then you got the original Maru-kun. Okay.
yeah, and then you got a retro collection of I think like 8 games.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games.
6 games.
No, 5 games. I
Five
guess 5 games. 5 games. Okay. All of them with the There's 3 NES games, a Game Boy game, and a SNES game on this
Okay.
collection. Ninja JaJaMaru-kun or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it, man. It's it's not like they say it.
Yeah.
Is basically just the dumbed down version of what the new game is.
Sure.
Big Adventure is more of an action game, which would be the 1986
Mhm.
game you see right here.
Yeah.
That one was actually way more fun than the
Great
original
World.
main game because
Oh,
it's like
okay.
a nice little. There's
Did you-
1990. That's so the Game Boy game. They did something cool where you can play the original Game Boy game, but they also colorized it. So there's
That's
like a
Milky
DX.
Way. Is that what this one is?
Yeah, Operation Milky Way. That
Wow.
one's the NES. That's an NES game.
Oh, is it? So it was the Great World Adventure is the Game Boy.
The Great
game.
World Adventure is a Game Boy game,
Interesting.
but it has the original one and a DX version where they colored it specifically
the
for this
DX
collection.
version.
It
Got
didn't
it.
have a DX version prior to this collection, so they colored it just for this collection. And
this is the Mega Man looking one, Operation Milky Way.
Operation Milky Way is the Mega Man one. It's definitely the best one of the collection, by a significant amount.
Ninja
Because it is a
Kid.
Mega Man game, and this game is the Super Nintendo game, and it's not good.
What's interesting is that looks really good for an NES game.
The Operation Milky Way.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
mean, it just like if we're just
It's-
talking about NES game visual fidelity and overall,
Yeah.
like I don't know, it looks really
Yeah.
good.
It's
it looks like a
91,
modern, like,
so
Indie game.
yeah,
I mean, it's the tail
91,
end of the
so we're
NES.
looking at like later
Yeah.
in the NES life cycle at this point.
Yeah, 91.
Way later.
Yep.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah, it looks
none of these came out in America.
Oh, okay.
So these are
Surprise.
all brand new to America, localized. You know, they haven't had English. One of them was released. I think the original game was released in Europe, and it was released as a sequel to an unrelated game. It's
Okay.
called like Ninja 2 in Europe. But the only thing missing from the collection is there was like a PlayStation and Saturn game that was made, but they didn't put that in this collection. I wonder why. And then the next collection was an RPG collection, and I'm going to be honest with you, didn't touch them. They didn't even want me to. They wanted me to just talk about the Great Yokai Battle, which
Got it.
of everything in this set, the Great Yokai Battle is probably the least interesting of them because it's just sort of like a modern take on the original game, which is fine. I think it plays really well and it's a great little action arcade game. But the retro collection, I think, is more interesting because they've not been released in America before, and these are apparently super popular in Japan, or at least were. But they just didn't exist outside of the NES era. Like there was a Super Nintendo game, but it's just so far removed from what the franchise was at the
Sure.
You could see it's like Kirby, where each one of these games is like its own different thing.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just more of a mascot for JaJaMaru. So yeah, I really thought this was, as a person that likes retro games, obviously, and sort of like right
In this economy.
in this person that likes retro games and a person that likes the sort of preservation of old games and stuff. It's not a fancy set by any stretch of the imagination. The retro collection is bare bones. There's no special features. It's just a menu with some games. The special feature is the fact that they went back and colorized the Game Boy game,
Okay.
which is above and beyond what you would expect from them. I've been pretty critical about these InIn collections in the past because they're incredibly expensive and they're incredibly bare bones. And this isn't much different, but I think because these are all new to us, it's a different situation. These are this will be first time experience to people who aren't inherently online. Like if maybe you downloaded some ROMs or something at some point, but like for the most part, by and large,
Not me.
not me.
No, sir.
I didn't know about this game's any of these until
No?
this came into my inbox.
I
so
had
it was
heard
nice
of them,
to-
but never beyond
Yeah.
hearing the names. Yeah.
So it was nice to sort of see something new and something classic and something that was well made. They're all well made. So yeah,
Excellent.
the needless. Again, I think the major problem I have with a lot of these are, they're kind of needlessly expensive. I mean, like every time they do these, it's like here's the Space Invaders collection that they put out, that Invincible collection that was like $50, and you just got a bunch of Space Invaders games or whatever. And it's kind of the same way. Like it's like $30 per set. Like, you'd have to look it up because I can't. I got a Switch code for these. But InIn also runs strictly limited games. That's sort of the deal.
Oh,
with
I didn't know
them.
they ran. Okay, they ran.
Yeah, it's the same company. That's why they're priced this way, because they're also selling physical editions, but they don't change the prices for them. So this is available on the Switch and the PlayStation 4. You can go to Strictly Limited and get physical versions of them now. They're available now on the eShop and PS store. But I know they wanted me to talk more about the Great Yokai Battle Plus as compared to everything else. That was the focus.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I just don't think it's the more interesting of the set. I think it's a fun game. It's well worth checking out if you look at the footage of it and see it. Like I could, because there's not much to talk about gameplay wise. It is Ice Climber / Mario Brothers. It is the same thing. You have enemies that come onto the screen, and then you're jumping up, and you need to like flip them over basically to like knock them off the screen, or jump underneath them at the blocks and to get rid of them and stuff. I mean, it plays like Mario Brothers, just with a ninja slant. So. I think in terms of like a high score-a-thon kind of thing, classic multiplayer in particular, like this is a really good multiplayer game because it has that sort of thing that the original Mario Brothers had, where you're trying to beat the other person to the points. You're all going for the same goal. So, and it's not like you've got two separate screens. It's you're sharing the same screen, going after the same enemies. So, overall fun package, but it's hard to recommend it to anyone other than sort of hardcore, like 80s game fans, honestly. So, yeah.
Sure.